So let's talk about post commanders. Catch my breath here. Okay, commander, you're a brand new post commander, or I've already been a commander. Some of the things you want to do is you want to talk about, you want to know your responsibilities. So we're going to talk about like 3 things that you need to do as a post commander right off the get-go. So let's remember what a post commander is. Post commander, your ability to lead is recognized by your election to the office. To lead, not dictate. Remember, you're not a dictator. By the election to the office of post commander, now you must draw on your ability and past experience while developing new skills to help the post prosper. Within the post officer guide, it states this: the charge you have been accepted, commander, is broad and difficult. How you respond will determine to a large degree the standing of the American Legion among your associates and within your community. Your own ability, the support of district and department officers, the information in this guide, and the help you will get from the post officers who form your team will together make the performance of your job that much easier. As you look to the overall operation of the post, you'll realize you have stepped to another level. You may see the step as too high, but as you proceed, following the suggestions and recommendations in this guide, you may find your year as commander the most rewarding of your life. Remember, you chair all the membership meetings and executive committee meetings. You're the chair, you're the referee, you're the protector of membership rights. As members within your post, we all have rights as members. Remember, we collectively own this American Legion as individual members. With Robert's Rules of Order, everyone has a voice with time limits, but they have a voice. If the member is not disrespectful in their presentation, they should receive the floor. So let's talk about 3 things that you as a commander should do immediately. The first thing that I want to recommend that you do is read your bylaws. Someone has them. They are in your post. They are in someone's locker. They are in someone's desk. And if not, you have trouble, contact department. We'll see if we have a copy of your post bylaws within our archives to be able to give to you. What are you looking for as a post commander in those bylaws? Let's start off with number 1, the size of your quorum. Why is the size of your quorum important? The size of your quorum determines whether or not you can actually conduct business during that membership meeting. What happens if you don't have a quorum? One of the important things to remember is that we are a corporation. We're a nonprofit. We are guided by the laws of the state of Michigan for corporations. And what happens is if you don't have a quorum, any money or decisions made at that meeting without a quorum becomes the responsibility of everyone within that meeting. What does that mean? If you spend money, if the group that is present and there is no quorum decides to spend money of any kind, each of those individuals are legally obligated to that money if someone brings up a disagreement with it. Hence why you want to have a quorum. Those are the types of penalties that you could face without a quorum. The Post is a corporation. You should understand a little bit about corporations and its identity, so you are a business. Your bylaws might have spending limits as to what can you as post commander or what can you as the post executive committee can spend at any given expense without getting membership approval or getting membership approval. So you want to know what those are and who needs to approve those. You also want to look at the elected positions and titles within your post. Not every single post elects a historian. Some of them are appointed. Not all of them elect a sergeant at arms. It's appointed. But some of them do have those officer positions that are elected. So understand what positions are needed for the election of officers. Note any deadlines that have been placed into your bylaws. There could be a deadline for your elections, not just what the department says, but your post may have stricter deadlines. So you want to make sure you're aware of all those. You also want to look at your bylaws and see if there's any membership dues that are stated in the bylaws. We don't recommend that you have membership dues in your bylaws. We recommend that you have those in sort of a standing operating procedure manual that you all agree on. Because if you do it in the bylaws and there's a membership dues change, you have to change all your bylaws. Another piece of information in the bylaws, it's going to talk about special meetings, notices of regular meetings, and amending the bylaws. So you want to make sure that you're familiar with how those things can occur. For example, especially right now, or at least over the past year with COVID, it's a good example of why meeting notification is important. Because maybe there may have been posts that have had change when they've had their meeting, and giving those notices, that's dictated by the bylaws. You also want to take the second thing you want to do is also read your district and your department bylaws. The department bylaws are provided at michiganlegion.org, and then also your district bylaws, which may have other stipulations for your post at the district level. For example, some districts charge a per diem, per member, or per post, and that's to be paid at certain times. So make sure you understand your districts as well. And if you have questions about what district you're in, we have that information on the website. But again, any questions you have, feel free to email Ron or myself that information. Some of the things that you want to do, third thing you want to do is sit down with your post adjutant and your finance officer and your other officers. Have a group session to where you talk about your post executive team and talk about some of the things for the future. What kind of things do you want to look at? Y'all want to look at the financial records, make sure all the bank accounts in order, that there's no issues with finances. You want to go over the minutes of the meetings. You want to review those to make sure you're in track with what the membership has asked. Make sure you have your charter somewhere in your building, or if you don't have a building, who has it? Where is the charter? Where's the physical piece of paper that says the charter? Look at your articles of incorporation and make sure you have a proper EIN. And we're going to go over some of those other pieces in the finance section, but as a post commander, you want to be aware of those things. Some of the things you might want to think about. There is a difference between a post and a house. And what do we mean by that? The American Legion is made up of American Legion posts, which are made up of members. And sometimes we refer to houses or club rooms as that's the physical building or business. Remember, you have two separate entities there. One is a business for raising money to support the programs of your post. So if you have a club license, the goal of the clubhouse is to raise money to support Americanism programs like Boy State or Student Trooper, or buy flags for an elementary school. That's the purpose. If you're a new commander and you haven't been involved in the American Legion very long, one of the things that I like to tell people is whether or not the clubhouse is supporting the post properly is how often is the clubhouse transferring or handing a check over to the post in support of their programs. Because that's what we want to do. We want to support the programs through the clubhouse. So what's one of the first things you should do as a commander, a post commander? First thing you should do is hold an organizational meeting and set some goals. Set some goals for the, let me pause here real quick. Hey, Brian, can you click on view and just have the speaker view? Speaker view, yeah, cool, thank you. It should go to the next one. Click me up at the top, yeah. Can I go to view? Speaker. Oh, there you go. That should work, hopefully. Trying to get it so that it do the other view, so that they're not seeing that. Attendee view. Oh, okay. So why is that not?
You have to set it on that one.
Okay, maybe they're all shooting. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, click on view, speaker view, and then attendee view should be speaker view. Okay, that should be good. Okay, thanks. Okay. So what should you do as a post commander for your first meeting? Let's talk about that. Number one is set your membership goals. Look at your membership. Department's going to have some membership goals that we want you to achieve, but you should look at those and come up with a plan with your team in order to do that. Number two, think about fundraising. How do you want to fundraise for the coming year? Number three, program participation. We have a lot of programs, and you want to start assigning. One of the things about membership is they want to be involved. They want to be involved with being a part of an organization. And that's where committees come in, or committee chair positions come in, to where you can have an Americanism committee chair, a children and youth, someone in charge of oratorical contest, have a boy state or a girl state chairperson. These are all volunteer positions that you can give to people so that they feel like they're participating, because there is a job. This is not all on you. This is about them getting involved. So you want to look at those different things. And again, department can help anyone who has wants more information about how they do their job as a particular committee person for a particular program, and go from there. But every single post should consider having committees that do those different pieces. How many will you want to set a goal for, you want to send 2 or 3 to 2 or 3 to boys state or student trooper, and have those goals set. FYI, there's a question in there about bullet points and whatnot. Sorry, I am one that does not use PowerPoint all that often, because of the way PowerPoint kind of distracts from things. But there are notes. These notes are provided on that website. You take those informations that you've done and you create your plan for the year. And then this is what you work off of every single meeting. Something also to consider from as a post commander. Are your post dues covering the expenses that you have for all your related administrative fees? Postage, stationery, per capita payments. Those are costs that, depending on where your dues are at, maybe consider raising them, or are they at the right place? But it also gives you a sense of how much money you need to fundraise in order just to operate the post. What can you as a commander promote to your community? Get involved in the community. Is there a project within the community that you can take on in order to do just that? Another piece of information, just a tip here, is don't go to the public without naming a charity that you're asking information for. So you want to be able to, for any project, you want to promote what is the benefit to that community, and then to the Legionnaires. Here are some ideas as a commander. Establish a welcoming committee. Headed by your sergeant at arms. Does everybody in the post know how to get a new member or how to greet a new member? Sometimes we have issues when we get phone calls here. I went into a post and I wasn't greeted very well. A great example is when a female veteran comes in, Is everyone assuming that they're an auxiliary member? If your greeting committee is doing that, there needs to be a conversation, because we have far too many female veterans who are becoming a part of the Legion. They're great advocates. Unfortunately, we have some posts that with their greeting committee has not, they just assume. So let's make sure that we're doing the greeting correct. Are you doing formal training at your post? Does everybody understand what is the information? Does everybody understand how they participate in your post? Does everybody understand what programs you participate in? If you participate in Boy State, do they know that? Student Trooper, do they know that? Do you have an Americanism program? Do they know that? How can they participate in that program? And you want to consider doing those formal trainings. Okay, so let's look at some of the things that are available on the website for you. I'm going to go over some of the pieces that you want to do, that you want to see on okay. First thing is post commanders. There is a piece on the website, and I'll throw the website information up there in just a second again. But the first one is an agenda. As a post commander, one of the biggest things that you can do as a post commander is have an agenda. Legionnaires don't like, in today's busy society and whatnot, sometimes they don't like a meeting that's not well run. And what's a meeting that's not well run? Where you walk in there and you just kind of throw mud at the walls and have a meeting because you group together. You want to have an agenda, and on there is how to conduct a post meeting. And this does everything you need as the commander to run your post meeting. It gives you all the highlights. So for example, the document in here, you can fill in the blanks, but how do you open the meeting? Opening, 1 rap of the gavel right at the beginning, and then 3 raps of the gavel to get everybody to stand at attention. Color bearers, advance the colors, or they may already be within, already situated. Everyone hand salutes. And then it goes through the different items. The chaplain offer a prayer. The chaplain has a booklet that they would offer a prayer, and then you go into the POW and recover. It even has reciting the preamble, and it's already written in here. And then it goes into what you say, I now declare post, American Legion Post 258 regularly convened. And then number 11, it goes through an agenda, not all details, but an agenda that might work for your post. So the roll call of officers, or a roll call so that you can determine if a quorum is present, doing voting on your previous minute meetings, reading the minutes of your executive committee if you had one, and it goes down the list. And you fill in the blanks as you need it and make adjustments as you need that go towards your post, because it's, what does your post need? And then it goes into the closing ceremony, any further questions, and then it ends the meeting. This document here, available at that website, will help you get through your meeting quickly and efficiently. I also want to encourage you to download and read, and you should have received this, the 2020 Officer Guide. We put these in, the guide is put in, one copy is put in with all the membership cards, and you can download it from the website, and you want to read through this manual front to back. Not everything will pertain to you, but it's really good reading for you in order to understand what is going on within the post, or how it should be run from the American Legion standpoint. And there's also a post adjutants manual, which even though you're the commander, you're not the adjutant, it's really good to have an understanding of that particular manual so that you understand a little bit more about the post adjutant's role. Another piece that's on the website that I want to bring to your attention, and this comes up every year. Many years ago, there was questions about whether or not to keep DD-214s within your post. And this guide this information was clarified in 2013 with all of our, from our national office. And here's the gist of DD-214s. Number one is, you don't want to keep them. You don't want to keep a copy on file within your building. There was a time back in the, after World War I, World War II, there was a period of time, even a little bit after Vietnam, where veterans would come in and they would present their DD-214, and the purpose of that was, number one, do you qualify to be in the American Legion? But number two was so that a copy could be kept, and then if something happened to that veteran, they had a copy to show, say, the funeral home or the VA a copy of that. We've come to the point of the majority of these DD-214s are on file in the archives, and our service officers or a veteran can usually get a copy within a couple weeks. So we do not encourage posts to keep copies of DD-214s on file. However, having said that, if you decide that's something you want to do, we want to encourage you very much so to make sure that all personal information, for example, social security numbers and birth dates, are blackened out. And the easiest way to do that, take the original, make a copy, take a permanent marker, cross out those pieces, and then make another copy, and then give the original back and then destroy the first copy that you made. That way no one can find out that personal information. We don't want any of that personal information to get out. So keep that in mind. You're not required to keep that DD-214 on file. You need to look at it, verify they're a member, and move on. So one of the questions that we got was, what's a good funding, good funding goal? Something to think about as far as when it comes to programs. You need to decide which programs you want to participate in. And this is a good question. So when we look at Boy State, we're running between $400 and $500. Right now we're at about $400 per boy. I think the girl state is the same, which is about $400. That could go up, so you could always say $500 for each person that you want to send. So what's the goal? Is it to send one boy and one girl, or two boys and two girls? So that's $2,000. Student trooper costs $475 now per student to attend that. So again, there's an amount of money. When it comes to oratorical, we don't charge anything for that, but there might be an outlay from the post to organize a post competition or a school competition to send those winners off to a district level. When it comes to working with like an elementary school to make sure there are American flags in there, look at emblem sales and see how much school classroom flags are and whatnot, and that'll help you get a good budget assessment of what is needed. Some other posts will also put aside money for temporary financial assistance for a local veteran. So for example, some posts have like a reserve fund that they use to give temporary financial assistance to veterans in the form of a gift card or groceries, or somehow that they can buy things, and so they have a little bit of money, and that would depend on per post what your need is in your area. To Nancy, when it says reservists do not get DD-214s, yes, you're correct. They do get DD-214s after they finish basic and get done with their training, and then they will get the DD-214. After the reserves, they get another document, but qualification in the American Legion only requires that it doesn't have to be a DD-214. There are several different documents that they can use. The website where we have information again is michiganlegion.org/training/T01. So we're going to go over some websites here that are going to help you communicate with your post members. So here's one of them. It's called callemall.com. Helps if you spell it right. And now it's called Text Them All, but so they've changed the name. What this product does is this product allows you to spend about 9 to 10 cents for one phone call for a 30-second message. So right now, postage stamps are about 51 cents or 55 cents each, plus you have to type it up. This Call Them All or Text Them All, you can sign in with create an account, and I recommend that you use the Post account, have a Gmail. Create this Text Them All account. You upload your phone numbers of your members, buy credits, and then you can make a voicemail message that is sent out to each of them to make announcements of meetings or special occasions or things like that. It's a really easy, simple way in order for you to blast out information to your members quickly. And again, it's about 10 cents per phone call for a 30-second message. So if you can keep the message under 30 seconds, you would pay a dime each. But even a minute, if you go up to a minute, you're only looking at about 20 cents per. But communication is important. It also allows you to make different lists. So you could have a different list for all your members or a different list for your post executive team. It's a really easy way to keep people informed. Another piece that you want to do is called Mailchimp. And what Mailchimp is you create an email list, and this will do an email blast for you. So if all your members have email, or most of them do, you can create a Mailchimp account, create an e-newsletter, and use this system here. They do have a free version for up to 2,000 email addresses that you can send out. So it literally, for most posts in the state of Michigan, and I believe only maybe 3 posts would not qualify to use the free version, you can send out e-newsletters or email blasts to all your members. Now, what this does, instead of taking like your Gmail account and creating an email and then putting all those names at the top, that's going to cause the possibility of you being tagged as a spammer. This sends one email to one email address at a time, but in a system that you don't see. So consider Mailchimp as a way to broadcast email addresses or email information out to your members. It's also a good thing. So if you do spaghetti dinners or fish fries, when people come in, if they're not a member of the Post, one of the ideas that I have seen is to ask them for their email address and then make another list that talks about fish fry notifications so that they can be notified a week or a couple days before the fish fry, you could maintain a list like that. If you do want to go to snail mail, I recommend click to mail. Click the number 2, mail. So if you actually do like to do a physical newsletter or a postcard or a brochure, you can actually use this system, create an account. This is not free, there's no free version, but you can actually, it's like a printing house online that'll, you upload your addresses, you upload your document, the PDF, or create a postcard and their templates, and then it will mail out, it will print and mail out those items on your schedule. So I know working in a post that trying to go to Office Depot and print everything you want, bring them home, fold them, put labels on each of them, put postage on each of them can get very tedious. This automates that whole process right from a website. So something to consider. Just making sure, keep track. What's another one for the post commander? Don't forget about having a newsletter, some sort of communication to your members. Also think about a Facebook group or a page, and we'll use another training for that to go over those things. And don't forget about having a website. If you do have a website, make sure that's stuff that you keep up to date. Know who, as part of your planning piece, is you should review all those things and make sure they're up to date and going from there. And lastly, post commanders, what I want to ask you is, who are you mentoring? Who are you, as the post commander, who are you mentoring to take your position next year or 2 years down the road? And this goes for all of your positions. Your post adjutant, your post judge advocate, your sergeant at arms, your historian. What I ask every single person is, or officer is, who are you mentoring? People want to be involved in your post. You should give them the opportunity to get involved, and the way you do that is by mentoring them to bring them up. So if you have a first and second vice, make sure that you're doing these types of things are being passed down to them so they can do that. So are there any questions about post commanders? Does anybody have any questions about post commanders? Okay. So not seeing any get answered live. Oh, Carl raised his hand. Go ahead and hit Carl. Hey, Carl, how are you?
Well, very good, Mark. Thank you. Say, the one thing I wanted to mention was on my Legion, I do email blasts to our membership, and I go into the where you can print labels and that kind of thing, and carry it forward to a message by email, and it's very effective. I have about 10% that for whatever reason the emails don't go through, but that's a continual editing process. But don't overlook the fact that your suggestions there were very good, but I wanted to at least mention the My Legion ability to take from your post data, the emails, and put it into an email blast as well. And it's a very simple process.
Thank you, Carl. And you bring up a very good point. So one thing about what Carl is saying, also note that that National is going to a single sign-on. So, and I know that Ron's going to talk a little bit about this, but know that My Legion is going through a few changes over the course of the next couple of weeks. But make sure you look at those single sign-on things and take advantage of that in order to do that. And then also that that information is the best it can be when it goes to national. So we want to make sure our members have that information, that their information is correct. So a couple more questions. So Wayne Blank has his hand up.
Can you hear me, Mark?
Hey Wayne, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm very good. How are you?
Good. What's your question today?
Well, I don't know if I got a question or a statement. When you're getting a commander in being elected, it's not necessarily a popularity contest. You got to make sure this man has some leadership. You got to make sure he knows how to get on the computer in a firm background in what is going on. And I'm probably one of those guys that didn't have a real firm background in what was going on when I first got in, but listening makes a big difference. And you got to have somebody that's open-minded too, not just their way in the highway, but everybody's way.
Yes. So Wayne, you bring up a good point. One of the things is especially, so sometimes really if you're a post commander, one of the things that happens a lot of times is you're a brand new post commander, or actually you're a brand new Legionnaire, and you come into the lion's den, you come into the lion's den and you're just like, hey, we have some new blood, we're going to put someone in there who only has maybe less than a year or two of being a Legionnaire in itself. And I would tell you that that's where the mentoring process comes in. Leading in the American Legion is different than leading. It's very similar to leading in the military, but in the military we had rank where if I was a sergeant, I could tell my lance corporal what to do, but it doesn't work that way here in the American Legion. And Wayne brings up a good point of make sure you understand the process. Make sure you, we don't bring rank into the American Legion. So if you are a colonel out in the Army, good for you and thank you very much. But as a corporal, we're in the civilian world now. We have to be a little bit nicer about things. We are volunteers. We do the way you get rid of volunteers is by not being nice to them. So make sure you're nice to everybody. We're in this together. Because the last thing that we want to do is upset people and make them not want to come. We want to build an atmosphere that's conducive to people wanting to show up. So thanks for that tip there, Wayne. So Sarah, the best thing about your newsletter, you doing that, great idea that you do an Americanism newsletter for your post. What I would encourage you to do is ask, because you're already putting this together, if there are other chair people or your post commander or your post adjutant wants to add something to it, I would encourage you to do that. And then Ken, what month do elections actually take place? Check your bylaws, but they have to take place within 60 days of the department convention and no more than 30 days after the department convention. So department convention this year is July 9th. And you would have to have your, after May 9th and before July 9th is when you would have to hold your elections, or before August 9th of this year. So that is how that works. That's why you want to read the department bylaws and the district bylaws for that, so you understand those pieces. So Rod has we're going to take one more question, and then we're going to move on to the adjutant position. Real quick, if you hit on more, go next to Wayne or Carl. Brian, go next to Carl and click on more. Remove permission to talk up at the top. Nope. You'll throw them out of the meeting. Remove, yeah, same with Wayne. Hey, Rod, you had a question?
Yeah, no, more or less, let you know what we did at our post, or at least I did at our post when I took over as commander. I remember going to a session in Little Lake, and there, I believe a past state commander was there, and he said he runs everything through his exec board, and that for the most part, that's what I do. That way, if you have a conflict, you can say, this was done by our exec board. If you bring it to the floor and they don't care for it, then vote against it. But I like that idea.
So Rod brings up a very good point. Remember, we run on a democracy. We run on the most votes passes. We're also a representative. So the post-executive committee kind of represents, depending how your bylaws are, represents the membership there. So one of the things you want to remember, especially as a post commander, you don't have to make the decisions. Matter of fact, your bylaws probably say that you don't make the decisions. What you do is you facilitate the conversation between everybody that's in that meeting. So if you have a project you want to work on, you literally need to get permission from your post in order to do that. So you have to get buy-in for that. And you bring that in the form of a motion. You get someone who also agrees with it to second it. And then you have a discussion with the host at a membership meeting or a post-executive committee meeting so that everyone agrees on it. If everyone agrees on it, you move forward. When they don't agree on it, it's dead in the water. As much as you want that to happen, we want buy-in from the post membership. So that's how you don't want to be, if you're making all the decisions, you want to look at what exactly you're doing in your post. And then when if you have the post making the decisions, you're better off, and everybody feels like they're engaged with this. So we hope that if you're a post commander, you get a lot out of this.